Yo, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to my Vampire Survivors 0.5.2 tier list. I'm going to be going over all the weapons and the passives. I'm going to be excluding the Arcanas in this video just because they kind of warrant their own video. And let's be real, when you're going through the game, you're not really you are in a way building towards certain arcanas, but you might get screwed over like with your second and third one, so you can't fully complete the build that you're after. So I'm just going to ignore them in this tier list just for that, and just go over the weapons and passives. Just a real quick thing before we start, just to let you know how I do my tier lists. C is usually your Goldilocks zone, whereas S and F is respectively your overpowered and your absolutely terrible. Everything above and below C is obviously above average and below average. Okay, so let's start with Whip. I think Whip deserves to go in the Goldilocks zone. It isn't really great at ranged, but close range is where it sort of excels. It's not really an AoE either, so it's one of those where it's not like terrible, it's not like amazing, but it's there. It's in the Goldilocks zone. Respectively, upgraded Whip does go in the B tier purely because, well, obviously it's an upgrade, but it's the lifesteal that can get you out of a pinch and is really good for specific builds, especially if you're going for things like the upgraded garlic, for example. And of course, if you run some different arcanas for healing and stuff like that, it's pretty good. There's a lot of survivability with the upgraded Whip. Wands, again, I would say the regular wand is a C, whereas the upgraded one, I would probably put it in A tier if I'm honest with you. So these are pretty much a single target weapon. There is an arcana obviously where they can bounce now, which is obviously really good, which probably bumps them up if you use that. But realistically, it's a single target attack. It does decent amount of damage. It's very nice to use against like the bosses, which have an insane amount of health. But overall, again, regular ones, nothing to sort of sing home about, whereas upgraded one is definitely pretty good. Knives. Now, this is one of those ones where it's a Marmite, right? You either love it or you hate it. I'm not screaming like I'm not going insane when this pops up in my rotation of weapons to select when I level up. If I see it, I'm probably banishing it. It's not bad by any means, but it's not great. It requires a lot of positioning and a lot of thinking with this weapon, so it's definitely not the best. Again, with the upgraded knives, I mean they're all right. They're not like the best. Again, you probably see a pattern where the upgrades. There may be some where the upgrades stay the same as the same weapon, but it is what it is. But the upgraded knives are pretty good. If there's a way of just straight up picking those, then chances are I would pick them. But regular knives, you're not really picking. Therefore, you're not getting the upgraded ones. Axes, I think, are B tier. The reason why is they provide you a lot of AoE in a way, and I know that sounds very bizarre, but the way they attack is they fire upwards and then they fall downwards. So it's somewhat like Song of Mana in a way, but they do fire outwards a little bit more, especially when you have multiple projectiles. So I think axes are pretty good, as well as the upgraded axes, which I would definitely put here in. I would probably put them S tier if I'm honest with you. I think they're phenomenal. They do a massive amount of damage, especially in an AoE, because they fire in a circle around you. It's fantastic. I think they're brilliant. So definitely something that I want in a lot of builds, especially if I build an AoE build. This is one definitely to pick. It's also really good because you can get it on Red Death as a starting weapon, which just makes Red Death just even more OP than he already is. Cross. Again, this is one of those where I'm personally gonna put it in B tier. This is definitely something that I wouldn't say I'm looking out for in a run, but if the option's there and I have no other choice, then Cross is definitely something that I would go for. Upgraded Cross, however, probably not that great, but it's not like is I'm just gonna put it B tier as well, just because like it's not like the Goldilocks zone. It's not a Goldilocks zone type of weapon. It's definitely above that. I would say it's definitely above average. It has the ability to crit and stuff. It's good. It's a good weapon. It's not something that I would be singing praises about, but it's definitely not something to turn your nose at. Bible is A, and the reason why Bible is A is because it's AoE. You can increase the amount of Bibles that go around you. Obviously, it's very good. It's just a good weapon. Upgraded Bible again, probably go S tier if I'm honest with you, because it's just infinite. It goes a lot faster. It's just a good weapon. Upgraded Bible is just amazing. This is definitely something I'm picking up in most runs. Um, it you just can't like it. AoE is I think is very fun in this game, and you're gonna see that a lot with my selections going forward. Fire Wand again, I'm gonna put this here in B tier. It's definitely not the Goldilocks zone, but if it comes up, I'm definitely picking it. This definitely goes again. This is S tier. This is S tier, especially with the Arcanas that allow it to bounce. There's obviously Arcanas that make things these cause explosions, I believe, when they interact with people and certain objects in the game. It's a pretty fun weapon. This is definitely something I'm looking out for in a run. Garlic. Just to make Asmongold happy is S tier. It's not really. Um, Garlic is one of these weird weapons where it gets a lot of hate for what it is, and a lot of people will tell you that it holds you back. I personally don't think it does. I think it's one of those which well deserves to be in the Goldilocks zone. Well deserves. It's not terrible. It's not terrible by any means. Upgraded Garlic, I'm going to say again, is probably going to be B tier here. I'm saying again a lot, even though, it's the first time I'm doing this, right? So with Garlic, it is very good for AoE. It's they call it like a noob crutch. I say they being like no one. So it's often like referred to though. Again, who often refers it to? I think people sort of will look at this and go, "This is a noob crutch." Noobs are going to pick this up, and then they're not going to be out learning the game properly and all this. I don't think that's the case. I think Garlic's perfect where it is. It's not like crazy in terms of damage, but it is very nice early game. Upgraded Garlic's obviously very nice as well with the healing and everything else it does. It might even go A tier, especially with some of the Arcana now, especially if like on certain characters, especially the new one, especially on the new character where they get 1% increased area like every level, it's probably gonna go up to A, maybe even close to S. But for everyone else, it's probably just gonna be a B tier weapon. Santa Water. Santa Water is a B tier weapon. It's very good for AoE that you can have multiple of them come down. It's affected by like area scaling and things like that. It's just a really good weapon. Labora, another S tier weapon. This thing is just insane. The damage it does is great. The fact that it follows you is great. The area it does, the area damage is amazing. It's just a great weapon. Rune Tracer. Rune Tracer is one of those that I would definitely look to get in any build, especially if it's a free weapon, it's there, it's great. It pierces enemies. It's very good early game. It's very good late game. It does a lot of damage. It pierces enemies. It's amazing. No Future again is another S tier weapon. I would say it may even be A. I'm going to put it S because it does require you to get defense. It requires you to get armor in order to upgrade it, which kind of then puts you on the back burner when it comes to passives. Because let's be real, when you get to late game, enemies aren't really going to be getting that close to deal damage. So it's really not the best. And also early game, you're not really dying that much. I mean, not once you've got all the upgrades, the power-ups even. So It's S tier though. It's good. No, I'm gonna put it A tier. No, I'm gonna put it A tier just because you do need the armor. It is amazing, but because you need armor, I'm just gonna drag it down one. Lightning ring is pretty good. I'm gonna put it B. You're gonna see there's a lot of B tier items coming out here. It's good. It does random damage to random enemies. Not random damage. Sorry. It randomly damages enemies. You know, you understand what I mean. Enemies at random. Enemies at random. It chooses an enemy at random and it damages them. That's what I meant to say. I will get my wording right eventually. Upgraded lightning ring is again. I would say it's B tier. It is really good. It's not like terrible. Don't get me wrong, but it's definitely like there's other weapons now in this game that I'm looking for rather than the lightning ring. But to be honest, with duplicator, it does probably bump these up a little bit, but you know, it is what it is. Pentagram. Pentagram on its own with no, if you're not upgrading it, it's D tier. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. For those of you that love Gorgeous Moon, I'm sorry. This requires a lot of willpower to use, especially like mid game. If you're picking this up and you haven't maxed out your build, this thing will wipe out all your experience. It will wipe out your chests. So it's a pain in the ass, especially when you have a boss chest deleted. There's nothing worse than seeing that, especially if it's your Arcana chest. Once you see that Arcana chest get deleted by Pentagram, you just want to punch the monitor. It's terrible. However, Gorgeous Moon is up there with B tier though. Go figure. Go figure. Gorgeous Moon is the complete opposite of Pentagram. Gorgeous Moon is amazing. This thing will wipe the board and it will suck in all the experience for you. It's just brilliant. I would probably even put this A tier. You know what? I will put it A tier. Gorgeous Moon is just great. Birds. The birds I'm going to do all together here. All together. And realistically, when they're coming up on their own, I mean, they're not that great, right? And I'll rate them individually because why not? On their own, they're really not that great. Upgraded, yeah, they're okay. I mean, there's nothing to sing home about. That, you know, it is nice because, you know, essentially it's two weapons in one at that point. But let's be real, it's just a pain in the ass. Just a pain in the ass to build into. And there's other combo weapons that you can get, which we're going to go into now, which is guns. Which I'm going to put both of the regular ones in A tier. The reason why is because you can wiggle your character up and down. It does damage. They pierce through enemies once they start getting their upgrades, which is really good. And if you get the Arcana, which allows these to bounce, it's just amazing. But even without that, they're pretty fun. They're pretty good to use. I like them personally, even on their own. But let's be real, if you're getting one, you're definitely looking for the other. You're definitely looking for the other. But the problem with the guns is it's a triple combo. Just because you need the Tiramisu, which is obviously the last thing that we're going to be rating, which is kind of funny. But the upgraded guns is definitely S tier. This thing is just insane. Like, especially once you get the cooldown and the air, you know, everything about these are just amazing. You just can't stop them. Just can't stop them. They're just brilliant. Cats. What do I think of cats? I was not a fan at first. Now I think they're alright. They're in that Goldilocks zone. They're not like the best thing. They're not the worst. They're a pain in the ass when they obviously deal damage to you, when they cross paths with you and want to attack. Especially when you're doing a toasty run, it can be the end of a run if all things go wrong. But their interaction where they have the little fights is really good. The AoE as well on that is nice. You can literally stand in those and they will protect you with their cat fights. But they're pretty much amazing. I wouldn't say amazing. Sorry, amazing is the wrong word. The cat fights are amazing in the game, but in terms of the weapon, it's one of those. It's a lot of willpower to use because you need to feed them the chickens as well, and you know it's they're not bad, but they're not great. The upgraded cats, however, probably one of the only times that you're gonna see me put an upgrade below the actual base weapon. This is terrible. Now, it does some good damage. Yes, that's fine. And they do roam about and do what they want to do. The problem with this is if you get it early, you just say goodbye to your levels. This thing sucks up your experience so quickly. Like they basically anything they touch, they have a chance of turning into gold. Which obviously with some of the new Arcana, yeah, you can warrant that that's pretty good. But let's be real, most people here probably maxed out on their gold, so or have everything maxed out in terms of their power-ups, so gold is useless to them, other than, you know, for certain strategies with the new Arcanas. So it's not the best. It's not great. If I get in cats, I'm not taking Stone Mask to get this. No way. No way in hell. Song of Mana. Song of Mana is an A tier weapon. There's just you just can't. This thing does a good amount of damage, more so than what Garlic would do, and it once you start leveling it up, you put it in with Candelabrador, and then you get a nice protection area around you with it, which is really good. Upgraded Song of Mana again is gonna be in the same wavelength. It's not S tier by any means, because it does require you to get Curse, which is not, again, Curse isn't bad. I think Curse is pretty good, but we'll talk about that in a minute. You know, it's Song of Mana is good. It's good. It's not God tier, but it's not like, you know, it's way above average. It's a good weapon. This new weapon, which I'm gonna call the Pine Cones. I'm not sure where I want to sit this, because it's good, but it requires a lot of thinking. Not so much a lot of thinking, but it requires you to stop in terms of. I'm gonna put it here in B tier. It requires you to build up a trail, and then when you stop, it fires in the direction that you're facing. So it takes a lot of. No, I wouldn't say a lot of setup, but you got to be wary of where you're going with it. It's okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. The upgrade for it again is really fucking good. Is a lot better than B tier, and it's not S tier, but it's not, you know, it's definitely good. This actually does pretty much most of the board, so it's in terms of damage, it's good. It's very good. It's very good. Clock Lancet, what do I have to say? It's S tier. It's S tier. Doesn't do damage, but it freezes things, and that freeze can be life or death. Especially if you get swarmed, if you've not really got that much damage, or if you're not really that good and things are starting to swarm you. The moment you freeze like a line, because obviously it does things in a clockwise pattern. You freeze a line, you walk into that line, you do damage while they're frozen. Is pretty good. Laurel is, again, I would say this is A tier. Again, it's not a damaging weapon. It's more so about defense. But if you combine these two, you can get to 31 for the new Arcana. You have to survive 31 minutes in the inlaid library. Just combine these two, and you know you're good to go. Good to go. Bone. You always pick Bone. You always pick these rare weapons when they come up. But Bone is A tier. Probably close to S, but I would say Bone is A tier. It bounces off of enemies. It's good. It's just a good weapon. It does good damage. You can fire multiple of them out. It's good. It's definitely not godlike. However, Cherry Bomb, I would argue, is godlike, because it deals the damage when it hits things, and you have the, as you start leveling it up, there's more and more chance of it detonating. So towards the max level of this, it's just going to be detonating loads and loads and loads. Does a lot of damage. Very good weapon. You always pick it when it comes up in your slots. This, I can't pronounce the name, I'm really sorry, but you already know what it is. The milk ghost skeleton dude has it. It sends out a cart. It's S tier. This thing is S tier. This thing is amazing. Like, if this is coming up, I'm shitting my pants because that's how good it is. Like, it's amazing. It's made me speechless. That's all I can say. It's just amazing. The farting flowers. The farting flowers, they're not that great. They're not that great. I was never a fan of them, even when I first got to use them. Still not a fan of them now. They're just not that great. They're just not that great. Now we're on to our passives here. So, Stone Mask. This goes straight into the F tier. Why would you want it? It's garbage. Crown is C tier. Crown is obviously for a lot of experience. This is really good early game. I'm going to put it B tier, actually. This is really good early game. Helps you level up a lot faster to get more items to basically, smash things towards the end. It's definitely worth picking up, I would say. Especially for new players. If you're a new player to this game, don't overlook this. This is very good. It's very useful. It's good for upgrading, again, your Pentagram. So if you're going to go into the Gorgeous Moon, this is definitely worth it. But otherwise, for most players, you probably won't be picking this up. So it's somewhere between C and B, but I'm going to put it B tier just because I can, and just because I think it's pretty good. Luck, it's not terrible, but it's not something that I'll be picking up. The only reason you would want luck is for the upgraded cross. Other than that, you don't really need it. I would say, like, cross is pretty good on its own, but upgraded cross obviously is a little bit better. It's not the best. Not gonna be singing songs about it, but it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's definitely. I don't like it. I don't like it. A tracked orb you need for the Labora. You upgrade the Santa water with it. It's okay. It's not. Again, this is basically taking up slots that you would want to use. So if you're looking at building into Labora, then yeah, that's cool. It definitely helps as well for later on. You can clear. You can pick up from a very long range. It's all right. It's not like. It's not something that I'm picking up unless I'm going for Labora, but, it is what it is. Wings. Wings you need. You need these for the new weapon. This new weapon here, you need it for. So, it's... Yeah. If you're using this on its own, no. Just no. The only reason that you would pick is because you want to upgrade your new weapon. That's the only reason you're picking it. If you're not picking this weapon, or you haven't gotten this weapon, don't get wings. There's just no point. Duplicator is S tier because why wouldn't you want to fire more projectiles? It's just S tier. Yeah, we'll go Spellbinder here. This is your duration. This, I would say, is C tier. It's not something that I'm going to be picking up myself. Only if I'm getting Bibles. If I'm going for a Bible build, and that's sort of like AoE, then you're gonna want it because that's how you upgrade your Bibles. Otherwise, it's okay. It's not terrible. It's there. It's balanced. Bracer, B tier. I would warrant this is probably A tier as well. To be fair, it's borderline A or B. The reason I'm putting it in B is because I'm not really picking it up that much personally. This is your projectile speed. I know I'm probably the only one here that's probably not picking this up, like, if the option's there, but there's other things that I would definitely want in its place. But yeah, it's good. is definitely good. Projectile speed is obviously very good because the more, the quicker you can get to the enemies with your projectiles and whatnot. You understand. You guys understand. I'm not gonna talk down to you about things like that. In fact, I hope I never talk down to you at all. So let's go Candelabrador. Candelabrador again is amazing. Base area damage up. Base area up even, should I say, not damage. This is very good, obviously, for anything that scales with area. So things like Song of Mana, your Labora, your Garlic is all very good. There's other things. There's a lot of things that this scales with. There's a lot of things. I believe axes scale with it. Rune Tracer, I believe, scales with it. There's a lot of things that scale with this. I think pretty much everything does. I think pretty much everything. There's some things that don't, but there's most weapons will scale with this. So this is just a no-brainer. And of course, this I believe upgrades the axe. If I'm remembering rightly, it is quite late when I'm recording this for me. So I probably got that right. I hope I got that right. I've put in a lot of hours. I should know. Yeah, it is just S tier. Again, with cooldown. Cooldown is also S tier. This is definitely something you want to be picking up. Inlaid Library has this for free. So you can get your 6 passives, then walk over to your left, or walk over to the left, get all your passives, then pick this up for a free extra passive. This is just godlike. Cooldown reduction is always good. Always good. This one is D tier. I mean, I'm not getting excited when this comes up unless I'm upgrading Garlic. Let's be real. If you're upgrading Garlic, then definitely this is alright. If you're going for the healing style of build, yeah, it's okay. You need it for upgraded Garlic. It's not terrible, but you know, it's what it is. Hollow Heart. I'm probably going to get hate for this. I've never picked this up, only to get the upgrade. And yeah, that's literally the only time I've gone Hollow Heart. Only time I've gone Hollow Heart is upgrade the upgraded whip. That's the only time. Other than that, I'm not picking it. There's other things. Again, with defense, it's D tier. D tier is because it has some. I mean, okay, fuck it. They both go D tier. They're not terrible. They're not something that I would say is a no-go, but it's definitely something that I would rather something else instead. You know, is what it is what it is. They're not terrible, but they're not something that I'm looking out for unless I want to upgrade my Rune Tracer, unless I want to upgrade my whip. But other than that, they're not really getting picked. Spinach, again, Spinach is S tier. It's extra damage. Why would you not want extra damage? It also upgrades your fire wand, so again, why wouldn't you upgrade your fire wand? This thing is amazing. Curse is B tier. Look, it's smaller than the rest, bless it. The reason why it's B tier is like it's really good, especially if you combine it, say, like with Crown. But again, you're losing out on a lot of slots here. It's good for upgrading Song of Mana. So if you're going for that, that's cool. But obviously, with Curse, you get more enemies on the screen. It does increase their HP and their damage and stuff. So more enemies means more experience. The more experience means more levels, and the more levels means the better your character gets, depending on their passive. Last one, Tiramisu. Tiramisu, again, is definitely needed for the guns. It's also very good for revivals and the revival strat. So if you're using Awake, this is very good to use. Also, the nice thing about this, I don't know if any of you are aware, I'm sure a lot of you are. If you have your 6 weapons, your 6 passives, then what you can do is you first of all, you want to upgrade your guns if you're going for that build. Once you've got the upgraded guns, you can die, use up the Tiramisu. Once it's gone, then you can then fill that slot with a new passive, which is really good. Or if you're really lucky, you can get it come around in the loot table again, which again, that I've not seen it myself, but there's reports that happens. So you know, I'm going to take everyone else's word for it, but personally, I've never seen that happen myself. as many times as I've tried, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, that's my tier list. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments section down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.